What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel, the Hotlaw Nation channel. There you go. So look, it's got a light. Look at the kid. He's got a light. Let there be light. Thank you all so much for joining us. We had so much to get into today. Jeff just broke a massive scoop, which we are going to be talking about here on the show as well. But we're also going to jump into so much going on in the world of entertainment. But I'm the Outlaw, John Rocha. That there is the Sneider, Jeff Sneider. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, Johnny boy. Here we go.
Here we go. We got 100 of you already joining us live. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell button. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Hit a like and all of that. Do you want to jump into your scoop now or like right now with only 100 people in here? All right. All right, Jeff. You just broke this on your Twitter. I've been messing around with a new camera, so I did not even see it. So please, this will be my first interaction with this. Go ahead. Drop it. What's your big story?
The big story is Donald Glover
is
back.
Okay. As
Donald
Lando?
Glover and his brother, Stephen Glover, have been tapped to write the Lando series that Jeff had been developing.
Okay.
And you know what that means. If Donald Glover's writing the show.
Yes. He's coming back to play Lando Calrissian.
He's not writing the show for someone else to play Lando Calrissian. That's not how this works.
Right.
So, that is the big scoop. That is on the site on abovetheline.com right now. And you guys know what that means when it's on the site.
It means it's official. It means it's real, raw. Well, I mean, this is kind of surprising, right? Because this has been kind of up in the air. Justin Simien, who has a movie that is opening right now, Haunted Mansion. I'm sure there are screenings tonight. He was slated to write this Lando series. Now it seems like they've moved off of him. There was no official announcement until this year. Breaking this right now, Donald Glover and his brother. And remember, they were removed off that Deadpool series years ago. I remember that there was some controversy around that. They were writing a Deadpool series. So interesting to get another bite at the apple here, working together on this Lando Calrissian show. Do you think this was part of the part of the requirements for Donald Glover to come back? My brother has to write the show with me. This way I'm protected. This way it's insular.
I think that they're just a team. I mean, that's the way it's been described to me. Obviously, I go back a ways with Donald. We went to college together.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had all the same classes. It was only a 60-person program. Graduated the same year. So, he's a very talented writer, but he obviously has his hands in a lot of different things. So I think how it traditionally works is that like Stephen kind of does the first pass or whatever, and then Donald goes in there and rewrites it and puts his spin on things. And then I'm sure they're always like working together. I mean, they're brothers. Right. Yeah, they're a package deal, and I think everybody knows that. It's not like a nepotism thing. I mean, Stephen Glover himself is nominated for an Emmy for Saturday Night Live, which Donald Glover never worked on, or didn't work on that season for sure.
In no way am I implying that Stephen's not a good writer in his own right. I'm just wondering if maybe Donald, because you say he's worked separately, Stephen does aside from Donald, doesn't do everything with Donald. So I wonder if this was part of the stipulation. I'll come back, but my brother and I are going to write this thing. That's the only way I'm going to come back. Because I mean, we've seen unrest on Star Wars. We're seeing people, absolutely taking the knives out for Secret Invasion. So maybe this is a way that Donald felt much more comfortable coming back, knowing that he had family with him, knowing that he had a writing partner who understands him and knows how to bring about the best of Lando Calrissian, at least his interpretation of it.
This is how you do it. You don't order up a Solo sequel that nobody really wants, judging by the box office for Solo, right? Okay. Which, by the way, I thought was okay. I didn't mind Solo. But if Lando is sort of the standout character, he's the character who a lot of people, I feel like, came away from that movie talking about.
Yeah.
Let's isolate that. Move that, give that its own spin-off series. And Donald is the type of big name lead who can carry a series like that.
Right.
He's just as big as Ewan McGregor or Diego Luna,
True. Very true. Certainly with Atlanta, certainly with Swarm, a Community. He's coming back to be part of the film as well. So this is a guy who is well known amongst a certain bubble of people and some mainstream people as well. But the question now becomes, why make this announcement? Oh, well, I guess they didn't make an announcement. You're breaking the story. Like, this seems like interesting timing. And from reading at your story, glancing at your story real quick while you were talking, apparently Trevor's been off this for a while. So his answer to that Hollywood Reporter question.
Justin Simeon.
Oh, sorry. Justin Simeon's been off. I was thinking Trevor Simeon. I'm thinking football. Justin Simeon, he's been off it for a while. So, this is kind of surprising that they were sitting on this one do you think this has been negotiating for a while before they finally locked it?
This has been happening for months, which is why in April, Donald felt comfortable even talking about it, like with GQ, where he was like, we're talking, I can't say anymore because Kathleen would kill me or whatever it is.
Right.
I think at that point, those wheels were already well in motion. And again, ahead of the strike, obviously,
Right.
Donald and his brother are not crossing any picket lines or anything. They're not writing the series right now. It's pencils down.
Right.
But the truth is that they did, they're excited about this Lucasfilm. They're excited about this Lando project. They think it has real potential.
Well,
and so when, Justin Simeon basically took the Haunted Mansion job like 6 or 7 months after he was announced on Lando.
Yeah.
And Haunted Mansion, I don't know if this lets the cat out of the bag, but like it was a tough production. I'm told that the third act was heavily reshot. Your post-production, this is a guy who'd done Dear White People and stuff. Like, I don't think he was really well versed in CGI and effects and, which we see a lot of cases of, right? So I think that he was in post-production a while. And I think Lucasfilm wanted to move on this. And it's like, all right, well, we can't really, wait for you to finish Haunted Mansion. So Justin left, I think Justin left of his own accord. It wasn't that like.
Okay, so that's what you're hearing, that he wasn't kicked out. He left.
I don't think he was fired or anything. I think it was literally just like, hey guys, this Haunted Mansion thing's taking longer than expected. Like I can't, I'm the director. I can't abandon my duties here. So if you got to move on this, you got to move.
That's so interesting.
At that point, I think it's like, all right, well, should we go back to Donald and see if he's interested in this? Not that I don't know that he wouldn't have been in Justin's version, but I get the feeling that maybe he might not have. And that this was the way to get him back if you're going to let him and his brother sort of start from scratch and do their take on it, which I know that Lucasfilm was also excited about,
Yeah, like you said, he talked about it in GQ in April and said, we're talking about it when asked about coming back as Lando. That's as much as I could say without Kathleen Kennedy hunting me down. I would love to play Lando again. It's a fun time being him. It just has to be the right way to do it. So this is really interesting. Do you think this is the first step? He's going to come back writing with his brother, and is directing this a possibility? Will he bring in maybe his homie from Atlanta who directed all those episodes of Atlanta?
Yeah, exactly. You see Hiro Murai.
Hiro Murai.
Doing that would be really interesting. I think he'd be. I don't even know. Maybe he's even worked in the Star Wars universe since. I'm not sure all of his TV directing credits, but yeah, that would be a very cool choice. Again, I think that people liked that character. They liked Donald's take on Lando Calrissian, like this
100%
smuggler, right? So it makes sense that you got to give the fans what they want and use what worked.
Right.
But I like the direction that this is heading in. I'd heard that Justin Simeon had sort of been off of it for a while, but I couldn't get the name out of my sources to who would be sort of stepping in. And then today with that Hollywood Reporter story in which Justin Simeon says, I'm still attached.
Yeah.
And I read it and I was like, I don't think you are. And I think that that you are. And I think that you just can't say that you're not attached anymore, right? You're not trying to make any waves on the night of your film premiere.
Right.
And I'm not trying to blow up his spot. I'm not trying to make Justin look bad or anything.
Yeah.
I explained the circumstances surrounding his exit, but it was when he answered in the affirmative in that interview, I started asking around and it was like,
Well, this is interesting to me because remember that first solo film was Lord and Miller. Lord and Miller, unusual takes on stuff, interesting, funny takes on stuff, edgier takes on stuff that people really like. But Kathleen Kennedy replaced them with Ron Howard. Is this another dangerous situation where Kathleen Kennedy might replace the Glover brothers because she feels the Lando film is too risque, too kind of not really Star Wars? Is there a fear here that could happen? I mean, she's a great producer, billions of dollars of money she's made. But when it comes to dangerous stuff or edgier stuff, although she talks a good game at the beginning when she took over Star Wars, we have seen her play it safe on quite a number of occasions in selecting directors or removing directors.
I'm sure that there will be certain, parameters in place, but I think that if you're hiring a guy like Donald Glover,
yeah,
you got to stay out of his way and let Donald Glover do his thing. I think he really understood that character well and what, resonated with audiences. So I think you have to trust whatever vision him and his brother have pitched them. And I'm not saying that this has been greenlit by any means. This is obviously like they have to still write this thing. But I think it's a good bet on Kathleen's part. Certainly, if you can get Donald back in that cloak, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, people would be very excited to see Donald Glover back in that
cloak. It's all going to depend on the script, right, John? I mean, how many things get submitted to Lucasfilm and they're just like, yeah, we don't. Whether it's the Damon Lindelof script, or we're just like, yeah, we're not connecting with this. We're going to go in another direction. So it's all going to depend on the script that the Glovers submit.
Yeah,
but this is an exciting development.
Well, like I told you before, I mean, like what happened with the Deadpool situation, they submitted those scripts. I think Donald did a whole reading of it even to kind of prove that it was cool stuff, and they still eventually moved them off the project. So this is an interesting deal that Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars are entering into with Donald Glover. I love Donald Glover. I'm sure you enjoy his work, and he's a very funny guy, unusual guy. But, by the end of Atlanta, there were quite a number of critics and some black critics who were coming after him for some of his depiction of women in that show, or in Swarm as well. So this is an interesting thing. It's a nice choice, but he's an edgy choice. He's got a very strong point of view on things. And I wonder if this is going to end up actually coming to fruition. And you got to factor in the strike, Jeff.
Is it? I think that, they probably knew what they were getting into, entering negotiations in advance of this strike.
But you say that, and they knew they were getting into with Lord and Miller, and they still replaced them. So
I was saying the Glovers knew what they were getting.
Oh,
into.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Wait, what is this stupidity behind your head? What is this you're doing? What is this? Is this a promo? What is this? You don't do without my approval. You don't be plugging shit without my approval.
It's on my brother's website, bunkcaptain.com.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, well, are you like Jeff Sneider? Does this excite you? You're not a let me run out to the nearest Star Wars film. Does this excite you at all? Does this get you kind of?
Well, I mean, again, you're talking to a Donald supporter,
right?
Even though I haven't seen everything that Donald's done, I haven't loved everything Donald's done. But I started out watching Mystery Team Mystery.
Oh
Team.
yeah, right.
So and I've seen his what were they called? Hammer Cats, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm just a longtime fan of his. And so I will be there opening on whenever it debuts on Disney Plus. Could be 2 years from now.
Right. Do you think we're seeing Alden Ehrenreich coming back as Solo, whereas Lando was the guest star in the Solo movie? Do you anticipate that we'll get Lando as like one episode or a recurring character? Or I'm sorry, Solo as a recurring character.
Oh, I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea whether Alden Ehrenreich is envisioned as part of that project or what.
Interesting.
This may be, the adventures away from Han Solo, though, with those shows, you never know with cameos and whatnot. But what are the shows that they're sort of developing? I feel like the focus has been on movies, right?
Yeah.
And so this is one of their higher profile TV projects.
Well, I mean, all they've been doing is TV. They actually haven't been focusing. I mean, you broke the story about the theatrical films, but we've had
in development right now. The focus is on film,
right? Trying to get those three out.
And I feel like because all those shows have been shot. Skeleton Crew, so this is the next phase of whatever their TV stuff's going to be, probably.
Yeah, all I can tell you, look, I love this idea. I'm excited by this idea. I don't know once they turn in the script, Kathleen's going to be, let's do this kind of Star Wars. So I'm just going to throw that out there that I have my hesitation that it's actually going to happen. I love the idea, and I
everyone
hope
says that for every Star Wars project gets announced. I don't know if it's going to happen.
I don't say that.
None of us know if anything is going to happen. Kathleen Kennedy's the only one who knows if anything's happening.
She probably doesn't even know until it actually does happen. She's the one that makes the decision, though, which is interesting. So, okay, fine. All right.
Yeah, so I have a little.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going. And just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the StreamLabs and Super Chats are open. Some of you already sent StreamLabs. Thank you very much. Keep sending them in. Keep seeing the Super Chats. We will answer them. You see the address above Jeff's head. It's pinned in the chat. And, of course, bunkcaptain.com, whatever that means. All right, here we go. Go ahead, Jeff. What else you got?
Okay. This is an interesting one because this contradicts some stuff that we've put out there in the past. But I'm not afraid to share it because I'm a big man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a ballsy guy.
This comes from someone apparently working on the Fantastic Four movie. I'm not, we'll see. They said that Adam Driver was never really engaged in this, that they had sent Adam Driver the script a while back, and he said that he couldn't connect with the character on the page, and he passed very early on.
Yeah.
Now, could they go back to him with this when the new script comes in, right? From, I think it's Josh Friedman.
Yeah.
They could, but all those early Driver reports and rumors weren't necessarily on point because he bowed out. He took himself out of the running. Now, because this person gave me this tip, which I believe, I asked them, well, like, who would you want to see as Reed Richards or whatever? Like, I'll let you throw out a suggestion or whatever. And they said that after seeing Oppenheimer, they would love to see Josh Hartnett take on the role of Mr. Fantastic.
Wow.
Like, what do you think of that? Like, is he not a good choice in your mind?
It's not that he's not. How can I say this? I think Josh Hartnett is a damn good actor. I love that people are waking up like, where's he been? He's been Penny Dreadful. He's been in a number of other films. He's slowly been working his way back into the Hollywood mainstream. And I liked what he did in Oppenheimer. That being said, am I ready to hand him the lead of a franchise like Fantastic Four that is supposed, and especially now with Marvel taking the hits off Secret Invasion, Quantumania, Love and Thunder, like these punches Marvel's been taking and some strong punches here. I don't know if Josh Hartnett is the thing to get people to go, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so to me, that's
either.
Huh?
I don't know that he is either, but I don't think that this is like a role that we're talking about A-listers for.
Bro, it's Reed Richards, Fantastic Four. People have been waiting for years for the MCU to do this. This isn't some throwaway character. Like, this isn't Wonder Man.
Name an A-list character who you think would like be in the running for this.
Oh, we just did. Adam Driver. We just did.
Adam Driver.
Bradley Cooper would have been a great choice if he wasn't already Rocket Raccoon. Krasinski, you could argue possible A-lister, but certainly knowing people know him, so it would be interesting. Emily Blunt would be fantastic for Sue Storm, as people have said already many, many times. But there are a number of actors around that age who would be interesting because it all depends on where they're going. Are they going with a guy in his 20s, a guy in his 30s, a guy who's older? Where are we doing? Are the kids already around? Like there's a lot of questions here with Fantastic Four. So I could give you actors, but you'd have to tell me the time frame. And then I give me a few minutes to figure it out.
It was just a suggestion that I didn't ignore because like this dude does have some heat on him between Black Mirror, Oppenheimer, the Guy Ritchie movie. I don't know.
Yeah, and guys, listen, I want to clarify this. You guys have to understand how Hollywood works. You may like an actor, and all of us may like an actor, but can that actor get people to watch the movie? That's the key to this whole thing. And I get it. Fantastic Four sells itself. But by that logic, you might as well just grab anybody and put it. But that's not how it works.
I'm saying, but like Vanessa Kirby, if they're talking about Vanessa Kirby or people like that, like she doesn't get.
Kirby's an Oscar-nominated actress. She's just in the franchise.
She doesn't get anybody to watch a movie. What do you? Come on, stop.
But you know her. She's been in The Crown. She's been in the Mission Impossible franchise. She's been in Hobbs and Shaw. People know her, dude. There's a difference. Josh is still coming out from the cold. He's the actor coming in from the cold a little bit. I mean, so have you not seen all the takes on Twitter and social media? People are like, where's Josh Hartnett been? That lets you know his visibility, bro. You know I'm not wrong on this. But
no, he hasn't had the visibility, but now this year it seems like he has.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, Marvel's trying to read a marketplace.
Well, let me ask you something. Would you go ahead and move forward with a new Indiana Jones movie with Ke Quan in the lead?
No.
There we go. People love Ke Quan. Everybody, he just won an Oscar. Why wouldn't you?
Are you
short round? Why wouldn't you do a short round film?
Are you serious right now?
I'm just asking you.
You're being serious.
I'm just asking you. You're because you're talking about like Josh Hartnett's in everybody's mind now. So is Ke Quan. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should cast him in a role like this because people still might not come.
I'm not even gonna touch that.
All right, fine.
Are you kidding me?
I'm just telling you, there's comparable stuff here, man. All right. So anyway,
Making a Fantastic Four movie to making a short round movie starring Ke-Huy Quan.
I'm saying Josh Hartnett and Ke-Huy Quan both have been flavors of the year. It doesn't necessarily mean that you hand them a big franchise movie to be the lead in. That's my point.
Okay.
And at least Ke-Huy has an Oscar. Josh don't have an Oscar. Okay. And again, I love Josh Hartnett. And I don't know if he's the right choice, but I mean, it's interesting because stature-wise, in the movie, he gave off that all-American vibe. Plus, he played like a conservative character. So it's just an interesting thing. I could see him doing it. I don't know necessarily that he's the choice. I mean, I keep hearing Kinnaman, man. I keep hearing Kinnaman. And I don't know why.
Kinnaman is, I'm a big Joel Kinnaman. I'm like the #1 Joel Kinnaman fan, but yeah. I don't know. I don't think I see that.
I don't see it either, but I keep hearing it. That's all I'm going to tell you. I keep hearing it, but I don't see it either. So, well, that's a shame because then shit, it feels like I don't know what's going to happen with Marvel, Jeff. So to me, everything is right like now just up in the air. And they just wasted a fantastically good performance from Kingsley Ben-Adir in a very low level series. So, I mean, if you're going to bring in great actors to piss away their talent in roles that aren't really worth it for them to take on, then I just don't know what actors like, yeah, let me go work with Marvel right now. It'll really help my career. Right now, it's, a little bit of a wounded animal.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think every actor would love to get cast by Marvel in just about anything.
You've never been an actor, man. Don't talk about things you don't know about. All right, what's the next thing you want to talk about? What else you got?
Reporting on actors for like 20 years.
You can report all you want. You can't. I mean, sports writers can't play the fucking sport. Go ahead. Keep going. Go ahead.
I'll have you know I was the lead in many summer camp plays.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. I've seen you be the lead.
Let's talk about I don't know, something controversial.
You don't have anything rumors wise anymore. You're done with your scoops, is what I'm saying.
I heard some juice about a certain movie, but I'm not going to be mean and say anything.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You want to talk about something controversial? Do you feel like talking about the Hugh Grant Oompa Loompa or talking about the Publicists, the WGA strike? Let's do that. All right, let's talk about Publicists. Let's do some updates on the WGA strike, and we'll answer your StreamLabs and Super Chats after this update here. So the WGA strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike, still going strong. Seems like it's not ending anytime soon. From conversations I've had with some producers who are at studios and at production companies, their feeling amongst all of them is this is going to be a while. And certainly we had reports coming out earlier this week that SAG has reached out to the AMPTP about coming aboard and let's have some conversations. Let's start the talks again. And the AMPTP basically told them to F off and they'll get around to them whenever they're ready. So this is an interesting place that we're in now. And now General Hospital has fired the first shot across the bow by hiring what they call temporary writers, what other people call scabs, to come in here. These are FICOR writers to write these General Hospital episodes. And apparently other soap operas are going to follow suit the longer this goes along. So we're beginning already with the scab situation here, Jeff, on the writing side. We've got Publicists who apparently held a very heated meeting with SAG-AFTRA trying to beg SAG-AFTRA to let their clients promote movies on the red carpet, go to premieres, go to junkets, do these kinds of things. Publicists complaining to SAG-AFTRA to make a decision, as if they're basically asking SAG-AFTRA to bend over and take it in the ass so that these people can work. It's super frustrating what's starting to happen now all over the place. Everything's cracking up already so quickly. I guess because it's summer season, Jeff, and all these publicists and the small, and my heart goes out to them. People are going to lose jobs. People are going to lose money, lose houses, whatever. But still, man, this is a strike. And so it's an interesting time right now with all these moving pieces. What are your thoughts on all of this stuff that's happening here as a result of the strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike?
Go search the trades websites for the term collateral damage. Okay? Everyone's talked about collateral damage, and it's usually with regards to below the line workers, right?
Yeah.
All the cinematographers and makeup people and sound people who are out of work because there's no production going on, basically. And it's just interesting how when it hits home, right? Because, most movie stars have, an agent, a manager, a lawyer, a publicist.
Yeah.
The publicists start to feel it because there's no, either no work to, the actors can't promote their work or whatever. that's when the publicists are like, all right, guys, like this has to end.
Right.
Like, we like, I get that people are going to be affected, but us? So, we're the publicists. You're nothing without us. We know all the secrets. And I think that's a very real fear. And again, my heart does go out to him. Like I know. Jordan Palos, who wrote an op-ed for Variety, I think. It sucks. And like I said, entertainment journalists are feeling it as well. Like, we haven't sold as many FYC ads this year or whatever, because who knows when the Emmys are even going to be, if the Emmys are even happening and all that. So it's tricky. We're all feeling the pinch, and I feel it in the air here. Like everybody's stressed out, everybody's anxious, nobody knows where like their next check is coming from. It's definitely not a fun time to be in Hollywood. And honestly, I hear it's like just not going to end anytime soon.
Nope.
It would. I mean, if we're talking about the writer's strike going into January, like it's not that far off January 2nd from May 2nd. That's like, a difference of what, 4 months? Yeah. Right. So it's like, are you telling me that this town, a town full of writers, could not write anything for a full year? Like, that's fucking insane. Like, what? Yeah.
But who's to blame here? This is what came through when I was reading the Variety article. Is like, you know what? I'm becoming such a fan of Duncan Crabtree Ireland. I really am. Him showing up at Comic-Con to hold court at that voiceover actors panel was fantastic. And answering all the questions, speaking truthfully about what's going on. And then him being a part of the Zoom call with the publicists and basically saying to them, I don't know why you're coming to complain to me or why you're coming to complain to SAG. It's the fucking studios who are doing this. But the publicists are punching down, and this bothers me. Look, respect publicists, respect your work. But why aren't you going to the studios and having emergency calls and trying to force them? You know why? Because you're afraid you're going to lose your jobs. You're afraid you're going to lose your contracts, your connections, these kinds of things with these studios. These actors who rely on these kind of pseudo deals with the studios, they're the ones who'd be afraid that a publicist can be moved and replaced. Actors, a lot of times, the big name actors can't. So it's that kind of a situation. So why are they coming after SAG when they should be going to the AMPTP? Where's that Zoom call? Why aren't they complaining to the AMPTP about them dragging their feet about not wanting to negotiate a contract that is fair to actors and writers overall? So to me, I thought this was a little bit self-serving by the Publicists Guild because they think SAG can be pushed around. They think SAG can be influenced if they appeal to them, like trying, because I heard it, because from what the report said, it was testy. Why are they getting testy with SAG? That bothers me, dude, on a lot of levels.
Understandable. I mean, it's crazy how long this has already gone on and that there's no end in sight.
Yeah.
Then again, they could take August off and come back that first week of September and know exactly what they're going to agree to and like hammer things out in 72 hours. Like you never know.
Yeah. That's the frustrating part. There's no real knowing about this, about what's going to happen. Well, what do you think about this temporary writers nonsense over at General Hospital? What are your thoughts on that? On other soaps? Is this the beginning of it happening, going like in other places? Is Price is Right? Is the Tonight Show like? Is this all going to start?
There may be writers who have no desire to ever join the guild.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like if these opportunities come up, they don't even think of themselves as scabs in a way because it's like they're like, well, I'm not in the guild. Why am I beholden to its rules? This is an open job, and I want to do it. Are these people scabs? Yes.
They're scab by every definition. They're
yes, and right, and they're never going to be admitted into the guild. But again, people may be okay with that kind of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Who am I to judge? I don't know their situations.
Right.
It's not like Aaron Sorkin's going down there like taking someone's job. I mean, if this stuff's gonna get made, like anyway, if someone,
Yeah. Well, one of the writers posted a really well-balanced response to this, saying that, this is something that happened back in 2007 when they had the strike last time. They replaced them on the soaps with temporary writers, and it was so the soaps could keep going. And so if you don't replace them, there's a real threat that the soaps could end. And if the soaps end, then you're out of a job anyway as a writer. So it's like you have to swallow a little bit of your pride here and be okay with these temporary writers coming in so that it keeps the show alive with the guarantee that you'll get to come back, pick up where you left off.
Really, the fear with all this stuff is that all these shows that are replacing, let's say, the fall lineup, like there's not going to be any Law and Order. So NBC, it's not like they just air Fuzz for those 3 hours on Thursday night. Like you got to air something. But what happens if that something is a hit?
Yeah, right.
What happens if it draws a bigger audience than Law and Order? Then guess what? Law and Order is going from 3 hours down to 2.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've lost all those writer jobs. So I do think that, listen, the writers and actors, the studios aren't stupid. Like, they are at some point going to have to be like, we can't do this any longer. We have to go back to work. You can't strike indefinitely. You can't. No, I know what you just like that. Like, but you can't.
No. I'm saying like, I'm not saying that way to scoff at your point at all. That face was more a matter of, yeah, I know. And that sucks. That's what I'm saying. And I'm wondering where can they get to the studio's breaking point before they get to their own breaking point? And I don't know where that is.
You know the answer to that, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way of the world. That's what it sucks. Like, these people are the bosses. They're the employers, and they're going to have the power. And I know that, you know, sometimes in some cases, the employees have the power, and they form unions, and they go on strike and all that kind of stuff. But, like, at the end of the day, they go back to work. Yeah. And the power dynamic is reinforced.
Well, one last thing connected to the SAG-AFTRA strike. What did you think of this Dwayne Johnson news that he donated, quotes, the biggest, a historic donation to the SAG-AFTRA Relief Fund? Courtney B. Vance called it a call to arms for everybody. The rumors are that it was 7 figures, Jeff, that he donated here.
Let's say it was $1 million. Okay. You know, like probably a pimple on The Rock's ass, but no small thing, you know, to the relief funds.
Yeah.
If other A-listers followed his lead, and I'm not talking about people like Courtney B. Vance.
Right.
Okay. But like, you know, if Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, if all those people, the Nicole Kidmans and Julia Roberts of the world pitched in $1 million a piece, like then you have a pretty healthy fund that could get a lot of people through this strike.
True.
You know, and if it ends, then great. You know, whatever's left in the pot gets redistributed back to these people or whatever. But like, I think that The Rock led by example. It was very generous of him.
Yeah. But also a shrewd business move. You know, The Rock's taken a lot of punches because of Black Adam, to his reputation, his ego. This is a great way to give back in a way that's also altruistic, but also a little bit of image saving or brand rehabilitation to do this kind of stuff. I'm not trying to be cynical. I'm just saying it's a smart move all around. And The Rock is a smart businessman, as we've seen numerous examples of in the past here with him. So I like that. And I agree with you. I hope it does motivate more people to donate. And so, you know, you got to put your money where your mouth is. You're not going to pick it. You're not going to go out there. You're not going to lobby the studios. Fine. Donate some money so that all your
to be historic. It doesn't need to even be 7 figures or whatever. Like, not everybody's The Rock, but you know, if you can, I think that you should.
Yeah.
And we all know that, you know, who can and who can't.
Tommy Cruise has got a few million lying around. I'm sure Tommy could throw a few bucks that way. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is another one. Ryan Reynolds with all that money he's making off that soccer club or whatever. Yeah, because we need Canadian to teach us soccer in America. Anyway, all right. So what else do you want? Should we hit some Streamlabs and Super Chats on the break? Should we take a break here with 32 minutes in?
Let's take a break.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to rest our throats for about 5-10 seconds. We'll be right back right after this. I need to put something here at this time. I got to create something. Maybe this whole week I'll create something. I'll create something over the next week. Let's hit some of these Streamlabs Super Chats, brother. Owen Lanning coming in first saying, is it just me or did Peacemaker season 1 do the Secret Invasion storyline vastly better? Brother, if you're comparing those two series, Peacemaker did everything vastly better than Secret Invasion. Our current spoiler review for the Geek Buddies is up now on the channel if you guys want to watch this after the show. But yeah, Jeff, I know you didn't watch Secret Invasion, so I don't know if you can comment on this question.
I watched 3 episodes. I lost interest. And then that's when everyone was like, oh, the show sucks. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to keep going.
Yeah, it's a disappointment. I mean, I think the performances were damn good from everybody. The problem was the overall construction of the show, the illogical nature of the characters. And I don't know how you spent $212 million on a show and you essentially did a show that is bare bones with hardly any superhero stuff, Where did that $212 million go? Even that final fight that we got in the season finale, the CGI wasn't that great. So where is this $212 million? I think there should be an investigation launched to open the books and find out who got paid what.
Yeah, it goes to cast.
I want an audit. I want an audit. I want to see who paid $700 for a hammer.
The AI for those opening credits.
Yeah, right. Who knew that would be the least controversial thing about the show? That is what's so funny to me. The Cali Kid said, what a strong weekend at the box office. Cali, let's put a pin in that. We're going to swing around it. That's one of our stories. He also says, welcome to Greta Land. It's Greta's world now. Oh, Greta Gerwig. Yeah, maybe. Haunted_Autumn says, no question, just support. Love you guys and all you do. Also, Dev Patel for Reed Richards. LOL. I'd be down with that.
I like that.
Yeah, I like Dev. He's a strong actor. Also, type on the first message so you get an extra $5. Just want to throw in some support. Love you guys. Also, Dev Patel for Reed Richards. There you go. Thank you.
Wow, correcting typos with paying to correct typos. I like it.
I appreciate it. Nancy Mallory says, are you planning to attend TIFF this year, Jeff or John? If so, what films are you excited to see? Jeff, there have been some announcements over the last few days for TIFF stuff. Some great documentaries that are very interesting to me.
A lot of good stuff at TIFF this year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the Cannes holdovers, even the Netflix movie Fair Play that they got at Sundance that I never saw.
Oh, are you going?
I think I am. Yeah,
oh.
I gotta get it all paid for and everything. But I think I'll be up there.
Must be nice, this guy.
I love it up there. I mean, it's a great festival. But no Iron Claw, which I'm disappointed by. That movie's skipping all the fall festivals and debuting on Christmas or December 22nd.
It's fascinating. This is the lineup. They've got a film on Louis C.K. on the Scandal. Then the latest from Raoul Peck. Errol Morris coming in with a film. Lucy Walker. Roger Ross Williams. The Hayao Miyazaki film. The first one he's done in 10 years. The Boy and the Heron is supposed to open TIFF as well. And for me, I'm really excited for this documentary about the first Women's World Cup ever called Copa 71. I can't wait to see that because I thought I'd seen highlights from the first World Cup ever in the United States with Michelle Akers and what have you. So for me as a soccer historian or football historian, this is an interesting thing. I wish I was going to TIFF. Hint, hint for anyone who's watching and can fund me going to TIFF. I would love to go. But what do you think is going to be? I mean, but there'll be no actors, no writers, Jeff. Maybe coming as like attendees, but they can't really hold any panels or anything like that at this point. So will it just be the movies?
That's the thing. I think that they're talking about maybe getting waivers for actors to do retrospectives of their career rather than promote active like new work. If they can sort of look back on their careers, it's that kind of stuff. I think that TIFF did invite a lot of actors turned directors who can attend as the directors of their films. It's like a little bit of a loophole. Yeah. I don't know that every actor is going to take advantage of that loophole. Like, I think it's sort of been said that Bradley Cooper has already communicated to Venice that he's not going to be coming for Maestro. Wow. If the guild is still on strike, because he doesn't want to, cross the picket line even as a director. Yeah, I would imagine that some of the folks announced for Toronto have, told them that they'll be up. Quietly pulled out of it. Yeah. I like this comment. Alan Smithy says Lando is pro AI. He had sex with a robot. So what the hell? That's funny. Orders. Yeah. Jermaine Lucier, according to Zeno Hour, apparently backed your scoop there, Jeff. So a little, sprinkling of credibility and validation from Jermaine Lucier. I like Jermaine. Jermaine does a great job recapping shows as well. If you guys don't read his reviews are fantastic. They've helped. Thanks, G baby. Hey, how about you following me, G baby? Love donated here. Says, oh, G baby. Come on. Love says Kathleen Kennedy is leaving / fired. Rumors are back. This time she is also under investigation for embezzlement. Get the fuck out of here. Have you heard anything, or is it bullshit as usual? Jeff, have you heard anything? What did you say? Investigation for embezzlement? Ridiculous. Love, what are you watching, Love, on YouTube? Because disconnect from that. That is ridiculous. Jesus Christ, no. You got to understand how some YouTubers need to create that fucking anger machine so you can keep watching this shit. Kathleen Kennedy needs to embezzle from anybody. Yeah, I mean, Kathleen don't need to embezzle anybody. I'm Two Flying Cam says, Jeff, this is pretty huge. I loved Lando and everything he's been in. Knowing Glover is writing this makes me feel much better as well.
After Kenobi and Mando Season 3, Disney Star Wars makes me nervous. If Kathleen steps in and acts as another project here, I'll be done. People say that all the time, though, and then they come back.
I'm out. And then they're back the next one.
I mean, Twitter is still around. They changed it to X, and it's still fucking around. The same people I see are still there, Jeff.
Everyone, oh yeah, guys, come join me at Blue Sky. I finally got the invite. Come check it out. I'll be blue skying all night. Guys, check out my threads. It's like hot for 3 days. And then people are like, oh, wait, I have a much bigger audience on Twitter. Why am I wasting my time on this app, like building a social following all over again? Like, why?
It's tough for me. I have 31K on Twitter, and I only have 3K on threads. And I my impulse is not to start posting on threads all the time. But,
But it's such a better app, man. It's less toxic, bro.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
It's already started.
Less people on it. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I just spent 12 years on one app. You want me to go to another because Elon Musk is a dickhead? Like, so what?
Fair enough. Alan Smithy says, yo, Rocha and Sneider this week. Scott Derrickson. Scott Derrickson follows me. Come on, Jermaine Lucier. Scott Derrickson follows me. Tweeted a recommendation of a film I worked on. I've made it in showbiz. It's a doc on Max called White Light, Black Rain about the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's really horrifying. Have you seen it? Jeff, have you seen it?
Have I seen which one? Sorry.
White Light, Black Rain, that is on Max right now, is a documentary about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
No, I haven't.
It is on my list, Smithy. I've become obsessed with the Oppenheimer stuff, and I ordered the book, The American Prometheus, that should be arriving today. So I'm going to be diving into that book. And I've watched 3 documentaries on Oppenheimer. There's one, it was a really great one on MSNBC, a couple other ones that have been in the past on History Channel, whatever. So I will take a look at White Light, Black Rain to look at the other side of the cause and effect of that bombing there in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I just have a tough time seeing some of those images and what happened to those poor Japanese citizens and what they went through. But, sometimes you got to bite the bullet to get a little knowledge. In this.
What about Josh Hartnett for the DCU, dude? Like the Authority? Or
yes, 100%. Put it in. I'm 100% behind that. Make him the lead of the Authority. Let's make it happen. I had no problem with that. Fantastic Four, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Let's see what else we got in terms of StreamLabs Super Chats. Yeah, Doug Developer, what's up? He says, hi, guys. I'm just curious. Are people politically on the right usually against unions? I ask because I find it ironic that Reagan was staunchly anti-union and was a SAG president. Or is SAG and WJ completely different? Jeff? Any thoughts on this?
SAG and WJ are completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think people see SAG union and WG. I think it's back then when Reagan was around as like the Teamsters union or the rail workers union or and remember he went against the union in the air traffic controller strike. Reagan did very famously at that time. So yeah, he was anti-union. Some people on the right are anti-union because they think people are sitting around getting paid for doing nothing, which is the constant narrative. But that's just how it is from one side to another. So it is what it is. And Brandon says, is Napoleon Apple's first feature theater film? Had Netflix featured a film in theaters or should they try? I don't think it's the first.
Yeah, there have been movies in theaters, and I think Netflix, obviously Netflix has put movies in theaters for a long time. They usually do, a 2 or 3 week window before they hit Netflix. It really depends on the filmmaker, though. It's only the top drawer filmmakers really get a theatrical release.
Right. Coda was at the same time. Wasn't it day and date? It was on. And then...
I don't know if Coda got a theatrical release.
Oh, I thought it did.
Rule not in place then? Like, maybe it did get one, but like it wasn't much of one. I don't know. I don't really remember if it did.
It wasn't a long one, if I remember correctly. And Glass Onion was in theaters, right? Glass Onion was in theaters.
Yes.
The second one. So
yes.
Yeah. Jeff, no Oppenheimer spoilers. We don't want to tell people what happened with the bombs from 80 years ago, for God's sakes. All right, let's move on to some more stories here. Jeff, I know we've got a rundown of stuff we need to get to and talk about. So I'm going to bring in the Oompa Loompa situation because I think we've got to talk about this. Sometimes in this world, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. a lot of people felt that the Oompa Loompa stuff was racist or was unfair to little people. I don't know what the term is nowadays, but I'm trying to be respectful here. But Hugh, we saw in the most recent Wonka trailer, Hugh Grant is playing one of the Oompa Loompas in that glass case. And now an actor, George Coppin, who is a British actor with dwarfism, who has played Sweet Cupid in Netflix's School for Good and Evil, and told the BBC that a lot of actors with dwarfism feel like we are being pushed out of the industry we love. A lot of people, myself included, argue that dwarfs should be offered everyday roles in dramas and soaps, but we aren't getting offered those roles. One door is being closed, but they have forgotten to open the next one. So I feel like they were trying to address the concerns by bringing in a regular size actor and making them small, making their head a little bigger to play with the fantastical nature of an Oompa Loompa. Casting someone with dwarfism or a little person or whatever that I'm sorry if I don't have the correct term. Please correct me in the chat if you can. I don't know. I think the studio wanted to avoid any kind of backlash on that. So what are your thoughts on all this, Jeff?
I mean, it's complicated. I understand where this actor is coming from, and
100%. Yeah.
It's like that is a big part that's perfect for a little person. And so when it goes to an actor like Hugh Grant, it's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, that's one less opportunity that our community is getting. I understand that. Yeah. I just don't know if Warner Brothers really has the responsibility to cast a little person in that role. If it's like, hey, this is a role that we think a movie star, would do well in or excel in, I don't see why they don't have the right to cast whoever they want, really. I can see it maybe why it's offensive if you're giving them the features of, a little person as that's really no different than having Robert Downey Jr. to put on blackface or something in Tropic Thunder.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's also not quite the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite the same thing. I agree for sure. All right, so that's our 2 cents on that. I just wanted to throw in there and have that conversation about it. Jeff, let's see what else. Oh, James Gunn dismissing these Justice League. What would a episode of Hot Mic be without more James Gunn back and forth or controversy? But James Gunn was addressing recent rumors that there could be a live action Justice League film in the works. He just responded on Threads, and said no. Another rumor suggested Warner Brothers pressured Gunn to include numerous superheroes in Superman Legacy to attract potential investors. Gunn dismissed this rumor as well, stating, quote, "Of course not." So what are your thoughts on this, Jeff, as we go a little further down the James Gunn line? If he is bringing in a Justice League, why is that a big deal if he's doing that? If he is bringing in characters, we talked about this the other day, is it going to... If he's doing this because the studio's having him do this, I don't know. Where are these rumors popping up from? This must be generating from somewhere, for God's sakes.
I have no idea where it all comes from. I don't know who these blogs talk to, if it's just they get their hands on documents and then extrapolate information from that. I have no idea. Yeah. I mean, Justice League, how many different incarnations of Justice League are there? I mean, it seems like it's just like what DC calls a big movie. Right. Like the way that Marvel calls its big movies Avengers movies. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I have no idea whether James Gunn, what he's planning as far as a culmination of something or some sort of Justice League movie. I have no idea. Right. As far as stuffing Superman Legacy full of characters in order to make, what is it, to make DC or Warner Brothers more attractive to a buyer?
Oh, that's a good question. I imagine Warner Brothers.
It's like, why would a buyer of Warner Brothers be like, well, we were going to buy Warner Brothers, but then James Gunn didn't include Metalomorph or whatever the fuck that character's name is. Metamorpho. James Gunn didn't put in Metamorpho, but since he did, now the fucking price is sky high. Like, what? I mean, this is all preposterous. What is not preposterous, though, is the rumor about Superman Legacy casting that I wanted to get into today.
Yeah, let's do it. What you got? What do you got?
That rumor that's going around about Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen.
Really? I haven't heard this.
That would be amazing. That would be perfect.
Really?
Not like someone who even knows like the attributes of Jimmy Olsen or what that casting should be, but like on the page, the resemblance is kind of like uncanny. He's perfect for it. I've been a fan of that kid for a decade at least, and he's a young guy. Like, he was a child actor and fantastic. He was in Vacation.
I remember that kid in Vacation.
Hey, he's done a lot of stuff. He's on Righteous Gemstones now. He would make a great Jimmy Olsen, and I hope that James Gunn goes through with that.
You don't want to see a female Jane Olsen? You don't think you want to see that?
No.
Okay.
What didn't you have a suggestion for Ma Kent?
Oh, I don't recall if I did or not.
No. Oh, maybe it was Jamie. Maybe it was
maybe.
My boy Jamie Williams over at Above the Line. But it was a good one. You ready for this?
Okay, go ahead.
Because I mean, there's been talk of what, like Brendan Fraser, maybe.
Yes, as a Perry White. Yes.
There's been a little talk about him. You know, there was talk of Kurt Russell, who already played, Chris Pratt's dad in Guardians 2.
Yep.
But shit. I was talking about what? Pa Kent?
Yeah.
Ma Kent. Gene Smart.
Oh.
Gene Smart is Ma Kent.
It's a nice choice.
What do you think?
It's a nice choice. I don't think they're going to go that route. I think they're going to go the Aunt May route with Marissa Tomei.
Like a young and hot kind of?
Well, yeah. I mean, relatively young, but absolutely hot. Sandra Bullock. I've heard Sandra Bullock as a possible choice.
That would be great.
Like reuniting them from Crash. Remember they were the husband and wife in Crash? So that could be interesting.
Her and Brendan Fraser.
That could be interesting.
Okay.
Another one I heard, I don't know if you like this idea. Daniel Craig as Jor-El. Jor-El. Daniel Craig as Jor-El.
Yeah, maybe. I can see that.
Is he at that age?
Doesn't seem like it really, but
yeah.
I feel like they already did like, Hot Martha with Diane Lane.
Not that
Diane Lane, Marissa Tomei are on the level.
I'm not going to have this debate and slide into sexist territory, but I don't think they played up her hotness in Man of Steel like they played up Marissa's hotness in Spider-Man, right? I mean, Tony was hitting on her, for God's sakes, implying the hotness. Ma Kent didn't have any of it.
I think they're going to go with Ma Kent, whereas I think they could go with with a Gene Smart type.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it could be. I would not begrudge Gene Smart doing the role. I love Gene Smart. I've had a crush on Gene Smart since Designing Women. So I'm cool to see her be a part of this thing. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I was in the room with Gene Smart. I would just be a little bit of a ball of mess. Yeah.
Okay. What's next on the
list? Now I'm going too far. Fuck you. Aaliyah Aloha says, Variety stole your scoop, Jeff. And people in the comments of their tweet are calling the Glover brothers scabs because they did not clarify what you did, that this was before the strike and not right now. Well, I hope Variety didn't take that story from you, Jeff.
I don't see any credit. Listen, it's a writer I'm not terribly familiar with over there. I'm not going to make a fuss.
Ugh, man, these people just to keep their jobs.
I'll take the high road. Let Variety watch me do it.
And let the English see you do it. All right. Tracer Fire says, do you guys think it's possible Greta Gerwig is being eyed for a DCU project? Maybe directing Supergirl? She just made Warner Brothers a ton of money. And she said she wants to get in on the superhero genre. I would love to see her version of Supergirl or Batgirl. What do you think there, Jay? If we're
All right. Supergirl is one of the movies that they announced, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that could be interesting. I would be open to that. If they're not thinking of her like they're morons, like how could you not after delivering that kind of opening weekend with Barbie? She's got to get out of this fucking Narnia shit with Netflix. She's got to get out. I agree with you. What are you doing? I mean, that's a good like backstop to have in case the Barbie movie goes off the rails, and doesn't deliver, but you don't make that your follow-up.
Yeah, maybe that was what it was for until Barbie blew up, and it's like, let's reevaluate this. Let's take a look at this all over again. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey says, just got here late, wanting to send support and hear my message read, catching the replay. Oh, thank you, Don. Appreciate that. Let's see. We got one more. I'm Two Flying Cam says, hello again. Did you both see those job openings of AI engineers all over Hollywood? Writers might be going extinct in real time. Also, did Jaylen Brown really deserve that payday? Oh, waiting for someone to ask that question. But Jeff, let's deal with the AI engineers. I did not see that. Did you see that? Okay. What are your thoughts? What are you hearing?
What are they? Again, I think that is where the WGA and SAG will eventually have to give in.
You do the AI stuff.
I do. I think that the writers are going, like I said all along, that they're going to get the residual money that they want. I think.
Okay.
But they're going to have to give on AI stuff. And I think that the studios are just, preparing themselves for that by hiring these people. Like there needs to be at least one person at every studio, like working on and developing AI and, making sure it's used the proper way and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And in compliance with any regulations that SAG and WGA do impose on its use, whenever they do hammer out these deals. So, I think ultimately you have to be proactive in this marketplace, especially when one competitor does it. Netflix, I think, may have been the first.
Yeah.
Of course, every studio is like, why are we just going to let Netflix get the best person on the market?
This is from the Hollywood Reporter. This is their article here written by Alex Weprin. Trying to give credit here. Job listings at almost every major entertainment company show that there is a veritable AI hiring spree going on as companies seek to understand how the technology can change their businesses. And of course, this is occurring in the backdrop of Bryan Cranston delivering a fiery speech aimed at Bob Iger. The company has a number of open positions. Disney does, focused on AI and machine learning across the country, per review of open positions by the Hollywood Reporter. Some are part of Disney's Imagineering team, the group responsible for turning Disneyland and Walt Disney World into world-renowned attractions. One job for an R&D Imagineer focused on generative AI is looking for someone who has the, quote, ambition to push the limits of what AI tools can create and understand the difference between the voice of data and the voice of a designer, writer, or artist. Jesus Christ. The role will collaborate with third-party studios, universities, organizations, and developers to evaluate, adopt, and integrate the latest generative AI. The job promises a base salary of up to $180,000 a year with bonuses and compensation. Whoo, Jeffy, that is not good. That is not good at all, man. Goodness gracious.
It's like, didn't I tell you I experimented with like an AI article?
You didn't tell me that. No.
I did. I'll come out and say it. I put in a prompt to ChatGPT. I was like, write me an article about this. It was garbage. I didn't run it. I basically just used the skeleton of it and had to rewrite the entire thing because there's no insight to it. There's no sense of history.
Yeah.
I'm like, truly, for maybe a person in my position, I'm not worried about it at all. I don't think an AI can do what I can do, but I'm also an arrogant prick. I think that AI is going to leave the bottom, whatever it is, 30% of every profession. That's kind of just hacking around. So I just don't think it's at that point yet. And I don't think it's really at the point where actors and directors and writers need to be too worried about it. Will it get there in 5 years? Potentially. But I don't think it's there. I don't think that time's upon us right now.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to do in these deals is find a way to slow that down. So it's 10, 15 years as opposed to 5 years from now. Also, for everybody who's watching right now, this son of a bitch won't hire me to write one article, but he's got a ChatGPT writing an artital. Fuck you, Jeff. That's what's going to put that.
I told you I didn't use it. It was
Hack GPT. Exactly. There you go.
What article you want to write? I don't have any fucking pitches from you in my inbox.
I have to pitch you at this age? I mean, I wrote columns for you all the time. I got to pitch you still? Ridiculous.
Everybody pitches things. They don't just send it in and say, I'll see this on the internet in an hour.
Yeah, I've never been good at pitching stuff. I think that's why I never fully became a writer because I just don't understand generating. Just tell me what you want me to write. I'll write it. I'm more that kind of person,
I'm with you. I'm not a great pitcher.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
You're more of a catcher. All right. Anyway, Jaylen Brown, let's talk about it.
Great. Now we're going to get comments from the bisexual chaotic energy guy.
We were positive about it.
Posted last week.
Jaylen Brown, let's talk about it. $390 million of some nonsense for a guy who can't use his left hand. You got to be kidding me, Jeff.
Not his fault that this is what the marketplace dictates that he's worth and that obviously we'd rather have Jason Tatum, and we'd much rather pay him the money than Jaylen Brown. But he's at the point in his contract where, this time is his and you know, it is crazy. Obviously, this is not the greatest NBA player of all time. So why is he getting the biggest contract of all time?
Yeah.
It's right place, right time, man. These are the circumstances, and you do have to pay him. You can't let him walk for nothing, really.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. If you can put two guys who are top 10 players on the same team and trot them out there season after season, even though it hasn't led to the promised land yet, it gives you the best chances to win.
Yeah. Fair point. Let's take a quick break as we're at the hour mark, and then we'll jump into some final stories and get on out of here and let people enjoy their weekend.
Awesome.
We'll be right back right after this. Yeah, I agree with you. Jalen's probably going to get like $75 million a year, man. This is the time. This is the time to cash in, man. Get that money if you can get it.
Johnny, a story did break this afternoon.
Let's do it. What do you got?
In the New York Post that, and these rumors have been around for some time, but that Tina Fey could end up taking over for Lorne Michaels on Saturday Night Live.
Ooh, really?
Maybe joined by her 30 Rock cohort, Robert Carlock. That would be interesting if she took over for Lorne, who I know has been looking for, a successor with the 50th anniversary coming up.
I'm surprised it's not Jost. I'm surprised it's not Colin Jost. He seems to be the guy that would logically make sense to move to the next level at this time. Maybe Seth Meyers would have been the guy back then if Lorne was ready to retire, but I'm surprised it's not Colin. It seems logical that you would move Colin in that position, but I love the idea of Tina Fey coming in. I mean, if she can solve some of the Asian issues that she's had in her writing in the past, then I think is not a problem. So yeah, let's move her into the situation. Let's see what she can do. Why not have a woman take over for a man who's been doing it for decades, since the 1970s? Let's see what Tina Fey's point of view is. She's an accomplished, funny comedian, fantastic writer. So yeah, I'm that would be a lot of fun. And I would imagine she might have her pulse a little more firmly on the younger comics, the more edgier stuff. I mean, that's what Saturday Night Live used to be known for. What a lot of people criticize Saturday Night Live for the last few decades have been about is that it's not as edgy as it used to be. And so would Tina be about bringing that kind of back? And it'd be funny because it's essentially 30 Rock all over again, her taking over a stable of writers to put on a variety show. So it kind of meta in that way as well.
It is risky, though. I mean, these are huge shoes to fill. Like if
100%.
Isn't as good, then it all gets sort of blamed on you. And not that would entirely be fair, but it's like the Oscar hosting gig. It's like, cool. Why wouldn't you do this? But wait a second, you're right. There is a lot of downside.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's move on to some box office talk here, Jeff. This is the thumbnail on our show today, which will probably be changing to Lando and Calrissian after we're done recording the show today. But Barbie hit $200 million on Wednesday. Oppenheimer crossed $100 million. Both of them doing this after 5 days. Barbie had another $26 million on Tuesday. Its American tally is now $214.1 million, probably higher than that as we're talking about it right now. It's already taken down John Wick Chapter 4. It's the seventh highest grossing movie of the year in 5 days. Already took down John Wick Chapter 4. It'll eventually, it's going to pass Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is sitting there at 6th. And so far, Barbie has grossed more than $400 million globally, where Oppenheimer is one of only 19 movies to hit the $100 million mark. It's already way ahead of where Dunkirk was at this time in its run, and it's at $238 million globally right now. So kind of crazy to see what's going on with Barbie and with Oppenheimer. Are you surprised that it's continuing? Do you anticipate that it won't slow down anytime soon? Because both of these are overall good movies, and people seem to have positive reactions to both of them. What are your thoughts on
that? I don't see a lot of competition for them in August. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And Mission Impossible in the end may have been smarter to have waited for these movies to.
No shit. I mean, that feels like it came out 2 months ago now.
Or again, moved up a week. It just seems insane now in hindsight. But Barbie, truly an incredible opening and a testament to the amazing job that Warner Brothers did with its marketing and just the power of social media. We did 2 pieces on Above the Line this week about sort of, social media driving this pop culture phenomenon. People didn't miss out. They wanted to be a part of it. People went in costumes. You know, people went in groups and all that. So it was a date movie, and it was a date movie that was for the women.
Yes.
But that men didn't mind going to. So it was a very unique set of circumstances, I think.
Yeah.
It was amazing to me that it was the 20th biggest opening of all time.
Yeah.
And do you know what was 20 and 21 and 22?
No, I don't. What was it?
The Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight.
Wow. Now, is that adjusted for inflation, or is that just for the numbers?
No, those are just the raw numbers. I don't know if anything's adjusted for inflation, but to me, it was interesting that it knocked Chris Nolan, of all people, out of the as Barbenheimer. Oppenheimer is, frankly, just as impressive. Obviously, you know,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it may be half as much a figure, but this is also a 3-hour biopic that's being sold on Nolan's name.
Yeah.
You know, people even pointed out, like, look at Tarantino's movies. Like, those are sold on, like, Leo's name and Brad Pitt's name. And, you know, like, that's why Hateful Eight didn't do so hot. But Nolan doesn't necessarily need an A-lister. I mean, he had Blunt and Downey Jr. and Emily Blunt, but they're all in supporting roles.
Right. This is Killian's film. Yeah.
So a very, very impressive feat for both movies, I would say. A great weekend for the box office. Is the 4th highest of all time, if I'm not mistaken. And I do think that the holds will be excellent. It's not going to be like a Marvel movie where it dips 60, 75, 70% or whatever in week 2.
Yeah. What's interesting too, and this is off a deadline, so I'm crediting them. If Barbie is set to possibly cross $300 million this weekend, with an expected $70 million plus second weekend. If she does so in fewer than 10 days, Barbie will be the fastest female demo feature film to cross the 3-century mark, with Disney's Beauty and the Beast holding that record at 10 days. And Barbie is 5th for Warner Brothers on their Wednesdays because it made $20 million yesterday. Barbie is 5th after Harry Potter and Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter Order of Phoenix, The Hobbit, Battle of the 5 Armies, and The Matrix Revolutions. So it's incredible. And with Oppenheimer through 6 days, as I said earlier, I'm giving you percentages now, it's running 69% ahead of Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk at the same point in time. And Dunkirk ended its domestic run at $188 million. What do you think the top is here, bro? Do you think Barbie hits 1.5 billion, 2 billion? And does Oppenheimer cross 500 million, 750 million? What do you? I know you're
I'm not a box office expert. I don't really want to get into that. I mean, I think it's more interesting. Like, are these awards contenders? Oppenheimer sure seems like a Best Picture contender, a Best Picture contender. Do I think it's a winner? No, I don't. I think it's a little too dense and icy to win it all. Barbie, I don't know if that's a nominee. I think that could get in for screenplay. And the question is, as Variety noted, is this an original screenplay or is this an adapted screenplay? It says in the credits it's based on, the toy from Mattel or whatever. But then again, you look at Toy Story, which has a lot of recognizable toys and figures in it, right? Mr. Potato Head, but that is an original screenplay. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Academy rules on the Barbie screenplay, because I do think that is maybe its best shot at a nomination above the line. Obviously, production design, it'll get in and all that stuff. And Oppenheimer's going to get showered with nominations.
Yeah. Oh, no. I think Oppenheimer, absolutely Best Picture nominee. I think it's the odds-on favorite right now until Killers of the Flower Moon come out. I think it's going to be those two. And especially if Color Purple moves, Dune 2 moves. Forget about Aquaman. But if those two move, I think there's not much competition left right now on the playing field going into the last few months of 2023, Jeff. So to me, if Killers of the Flower Moon is as good as people are saying it is, that's the 1 and 2 right there. Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon.
It certainly seems like that's the way the Oscar race is shaping up.
Yeah, I think Killian gets nominated. I don't know if Emily or Florence get nominated. I would love to see a nomination for David Krumholtz, who I think is fantastic in Oppenheimer. As good as anything Hartnett is doing in that film, I think Krumholtz does.
Oh, no, it's not even a question. Krumholtz is way better than Hartnett in that movie.
Right? I mean, I want him in everything now. I'm trying to see if I can line up an interview with Krumholtz because I just came away from that movie absolutely loving this.
DM him on Instagram.
Yeah? All right. Yes. I'll try. I'll DM him on Instagram. But RDJ is absolutely going to get nominated.
Do you think he could win? Do you think that's
RDJ? Yes. Yeah. I think RDJ can absolutely win.
Okay.
I don't think Krumholtz could win, unfortunately, just from name recognition, but I do think RDJ could win. On the other side, I think Ryan Gosling absolutely should be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I don't know that I'm necessarily in the camp that thinks Margot Robbie should be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I thought she did a fantastic job.
Supporting actress. She's a fucking Barbie. What do you mean?
Yeah, but I don't know if I necessarily think that the emotions overall were enough to get her over the line, but we'll see. We'll see what's coming down.
That's not an Oscar-worthy performance.
You don't think so either? Okay.
No. But, Gosling, what Gosling does is special.
Yeah.
But, to me, I don't like. Why is he supporting actor? Because isn't it Best Actor?
It's called Barbie, bro. That's why he's supporting.
But he may even have more screen time than her. Like, I don't know this.
That's very possible.
Feels very Ken heavy.
Yeah.
I just don't understand in what world that's a supporting turn, but I guess one could make the argument.
Yeah, for sure. But Greta and Nolan, I think, will be nominated. I don't think Barbie gets nominated for Best Picture, but who knows? Who knows? There could be a groundswell
coming out.
Yeah. I mean, they got Andrea Riseborough nomination, for God's sakes. White women are powerful. Let's see. What else? Bless you. Mike McKenzie says, any thoughts on the Kevin Spacey verdict? Is he still unhirable? Yeah, Jeff, let's talk about this. On the list of our stuff to talk about, Kevin Spacey found not guilty, came out, delivered a statement afterwards. His lawyer came out and said Kevin is itching to get back to work and studios are going to hire him. And the director of the recent film that he's in said he has no regrets hiring Kevin Spacey now. But Kevin, I think there was still some civil stuff that was put out there. And so he was found not guilty by the jury, but there was still some questionable stuff about his actions that were released in this. So I still think he comes out of this thing damaged. And I don't know necessarily that he can hide behind a not guilty verdict in this situation. Do you think that this is, because even Depp is not coming back to be mainstream anything after the Amber Heard situation. Do you think he is forever damaged by this and there's no Kevin Spacey back being the lead of anything ever again?
Yes, I do think that Spacey's career has been, irrevocably damaged or tainted. He is an exceptional actor. I think he's a better actor than Johnny Depp, almost. Really. When I looked at this guy's output in the 90s, it was staggering. He dominated the 90s. Dominated. Yeah. 2 Oscars. Not many people won multiple acting Oscars in the 90s. Tom Hanks comes to mind. But so LA Magazine asked me to reach out to folks and just gauge whether Hollywood's open to a Spacey comeback in light of this not guilty verdict. And the folks who I got a hold of said absolutely not. One was like, hell no. The other one was like, I could still see him doing what he's doing lately, which is working overseas, doing international movies and, small indies. But, he's not going to be testing for a Marvel movie anytime soon.
I think he's like Gibson. Like Gibson?
No, because I talked to somebody about Mel Gibson.
Okay.
This. Like Mel Gibson did, he directed Hacksaw Ridge. He got an Oscar nomination. Like that's lying.
Acting wise. He can be in Mark Wahlberg's movies because Wahlberg is right.
He worked in, he's the star of a Paramount movie. Like he was accepted back into the studio fold. Maybe he needed a Mark Wahlberg to vouch for him.
Yeah.
And say, listen, this is the guy I really want in my movie.
Right.
But he has been accepted back into the studio system.
Okay.
Even Hulu putting out that Joe Carnahan movie that he did with Frank Grillo. That's
boss level. Yeah.
Right. That's Disney. So,
okay.
Again, also as bad as some of the stuff, I'm not going to get into the abuse stuff with his ex.
Sure.
The stuff that, he's known for doing, which is saying anti-Semitic things and racist comments and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
However terrible it is, it's not a crime like Spacey was accused of.
Right.
So it is a little different.
Okay. All right, Jeff, if you say so. Let's see what else we got on our list here before we wrap up that we didn't talk about.
There was an A24.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, go ahead, man.
To bring up.
Yes.
A source had reached out. Hold on, let me just bring this up here on the phone. A source had reached out just like to talk about the eye-popping budgets that A24 is working with lately.
Yeah.
This may have been better off for an article, but like,
Okay.
He basically said A24's budgets are out of control. They spent $75 million on Alex Garland's Civil War, which is a little bit more commercial, I think, for A24 because there's action in it.
Yeah.
But it's also, an Alex Garland movie at the end of the day, so it is dense and complicated. They said they spent $70 million on Beau is Afraid, and that was the real number for Beau is Afraid. $70 million.
Where are they getting this money?
Which, by the way, Beau is Afraid, I'd heard it was first developed for a black actor, like 10 years ago. Like I think that he wrote it so long ago. He'd written it for a Forrest Whitaker or Don Cheadle type.
Holy shit! Wow.
I heard that about that. Okay. Even smaller scale projects. So Problemista, Julio Torres movie with Tilda Swinton, $12 million.
Wow.
Past Lives, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
But $12 million. I'm told that they got that for or whatever. So basically, the source said that the deals that A24 signed with Showtime and with Apple made them think that streamers are going to pay a ton of money for their movies because of the A24 brand.
Right.
But the truth is that the streamers aren't paying those kinds of figures anymore. And so now A24 has a very expensive slate on its hands.
Right. Wow, that's a lot, dude. But they are not part of the AMPTP, by the way, which I discovered this week. I didn't know this. They're not part of the AMPTP. So, they can keep making movies at this level with that kind of money and get vouchers for their actors. 2 of those A24 movies were approved by SAG this week to continue doing what they're doing or shooting their films. One with Anne Hathaway, and I can't remember who's starring in the other one, but interesting shit that they've kind of angled themselves into a particularly unique section of the entertainment industry as a studio. So, all right. But it just seems like it's a lot of money for movies that are maybe 15 million, 20 million, Everything Everywhere All at Once was the rarity.
That's why A24 was so successful, is because they kept budgets low. And they were end to 20 million range. That was sort of the most expensive, 20, 25 million. Yeah. To hear that they're making $70 million movies, that's a big risk. That's a big risk.
Why try it out?
Right. The other stuff that happened this week are obviously R.I.P. Sinead O'Connor.
Yes, Sinead O'Connor, 52 years old. Fuck, or 56, I think. It was heartbreaking, fucking heartbreaking. From all the indications, and I'm in no way reporting this, but from all the indications, is that it was probably her taking her life. And I, as someone who almost took his life in 2016, I'm very careful about that. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what it seems to be indicating. She spoke about the death of the suicide of her 17-year-old son, how it had affected her, how it had destroyed her most recent video that people unearthed, which was a very sweet, playful video talking about her apartment, talking about her life. She spoke about the suicide of her son and how much it was destroying her. And she said, he was the only person that ever loved me unconditionally. He was the second half of me. To lose him has made my life almost impossible to bear. So it may have been that, she had hit some kind of point where she might have taken her life. Again, not confirming that, just saying that is what it seems to be from all indications, that is the reason, which is so unfortunate because an incredibly talented soul, Jeff, that was unfortunately vilified by an uncaring society at a time when they weren't ready to deal with shit that we are clearly aware of now.
Yeah, obviously a very, very sad story. I never saw the documentary.
It's so good. Yeah. Catherine Ferguson. It's called Nothing Compares. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on, I think, Showtime. Find a way to see it. It gives you a way more well-rounded appreciation of her and gives you some perspective on some of these controversies that she was involved in as well. Yeah.
So. What'd you think of the Exorcist trailer, Johnny, before we go?
I did a reaction. It scared the fuck out of me, dude. And so I'm excited. Now I want to go see it. I hope it's good. It feels like one of these smaller approaches to horror, which I like, Jeff, if you're going to come back and go do The Exorcist, because it's kind of a small insular film. So you're going to do a quote unquote sequel to it. I like it. Great seeing Ellen Burstyn. Looks like she's still got it at 90 years old. So I like it. I like the imagery. What about you? But you're more of a horror snob, man. Fuck you. You're more of a horror snob.
That is true. I'm looking. I mean, a great horror movie does come out tonight. Or a very good one. A very good one. Talk to Me.
Dude,
you like it?
I loved Talk to Me. Loved. I did a out of theater reaction. I'm going to post it tonight after our show later on about 10:30, 11. It is phenomenal. It is such a great horror movie. It is bone dry horror. There's no extra fat on the bone at all. It is going to fuck you up on so many levels. The ending, I still am okay with it, but overall, the imagery and the things that happen in that movie are going to stay with you for a long, long time. I think
it's genuinely scary, and that it is truly effective. But I couldn't say it's a great movie because I don't think it landed that ending. I think that it tries to graft on some level of self-importance or whatever in the end that I don't think it really earned. But yes, some truly great sequences in that movie.
Jeff,
those guys are good directors.
Yeah, I agree. I would immediately give them whatever they wanted. I would immediately give them whatever they want to direct.
The other movies that come out this week, real quickly, Haunted Mansion.
It's okay. Lakeith Stanfield is the reason to watch that movie. He is actually the lead of the movie. Don't get it twisted when you go see it. It is not Rosario Dawson and her child. It is absolutely Lakeith Stanfield who is the lead of the movie. And I appreciate the fact that they are making a commentary on grief in this movie. That really surprised me. And that helped me hang on until we got to the ending. And whatever reshoots they did, I think kind of worked. I like the ending. So that's my thoughts on that.
I agree. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I just thought it was very flat. And I do agree with the criticisms of it's like you have two characters who want to effectively die and reunite with the loved ones that they've lost. And it's like one character like that would have been enough. Two characters, like this is supposed to be a fun summer movie. It does seem like it doesn't seem like this now is the best time to drop this movie, but it seems like it's all in service of getting the movie out on Disney Plus in time for Halloween.
Yeah. And then the other one is what's the other one that's out that you were going to talk about?
Oh, the other one was the Nick Cage movie, Sympathy for the Devil, which I can now talk about.
Okay, I didn't even know that was coming out. Go ahead. Yeah.
Dude, it's him and Kinnaman, and it's Nick Cage like carjacking Kinnaman and say like drive me around all night.
What?
It's like this cat and mouse game between the two of them.
Okay.
It's not the greatest, but it's a good little indie, B movie thriller if you like that kind of stuff. A good two-hander, and Cage goes full Cage. Okay, this is full Cage. This is not a drill, people. And he fucking brings it.
Wow.
You'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right. I saw the trailer for Retirement Plan with Nicolas Cage. Interesting film as well. Another melancholy RIP, brother, to Bo Goldman, who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I know that's one of your favorite films, Jeff. He passed away at 90 years old. He also wrote Melvin and Howard, co-wrote The Rose, which was the coming out of Bette Midler as an actress, Scent of a Woman, which netted Pacino an Oscar. And he was one of a handful of screenwriters who won Academy Awards for both original and adapted screenplay. He also wrote lyrics for a Broadway musical back then, and just a guy with a lot of credits here that are pretty fantastic, and it's a shame that he's passed on. I personally loved City Hall, Pacino's film City Hall. I actually like that movie, so to find out that this was the same guy who wrote that, makes it even more sad that he has passed on. But 90 is a long life, bro. What are your thoughts?
Take me out, it's like 75, 78. I'm good. I don't even need to see my 80s.
Good. I agree. I don't want to see myself wrinkle up and die, for fuck's sake. So, but that's one of your favorite films, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right, Jeff?
It's R.I.P. Bill Goldman. Obviously, he did an amazing job adapting that novel.
Absolutely. What else have you got on your list? Anything else?
Kyle Fielder in the chat saying that Magazine Dreams has been pulled from theaters in December and will likely get dumped on Hulu with other Searchlight movies or whatever.
Is that an admission of guilt?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with that other than it's just we can't put this out in theaters. And
okay.
I mean, I don't know if that's even confirmed. I've been Googling trying to find the source on that. So Kyle, I don't know where you saw that story if you want to let us know, but I'm assuming he didn't just pull that out of his ass.
Okay.
Someone asked about Cobweb. Was there a chat about that?
Cobweb?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one here from the Cali Kid. Pre-sales for Barbie and Oppenheimer are huge in my theaters. Expect a strong second week for both Barbie and Oppenheimer at the box office. Yeah, we discussed that already. Draws Walker.
Ninja Turtles on yesterday, right? And
yeah,
Frosty noted this on Twitter. It was like that theater was packed with Barbie folks.
Oh, wow. Draws Walker says, Bo Goldman passed away at the age of 90. He had a great long career. We just talked about him. Thank you, Draws. And then Micah says, do you see Cobweb? Lionsgate's release is awful. I don't know what Cobweb is.
It's the Lizzie Kaplan, Anthony Starr Lionsgate movie. I wasn't a big fan of it. I really wasn't a fan of Lizzie Kaplan's performance in it either.
Yeah.
So, it has some decent scary moments, but this is like a VOD rental. This is not something you have to go to theaters for.
Okay, never mind. I guess not. I was going to say, are we losing a little bit of Lizzie Kaplan? Is a little bloom off the rose a little bit? Or do you think she's still...
I never saw Fatal Attraction. I heard it wasn't great, but I heard she was good in it. I do want to watch that.
Okay. Did you see Fleischman is in Trouble?
Didn't see Fleischman.
It's like a Jeff Sneider type of show.
I know. A Jeff Sneider type of show. A show about Jews.
Whoa! I didn't know that. I've never seen it.
Fleischman is in Trouble. Starring Jesse Eisenberg.
I don't get involved in those things. I'm race blind. I'm race blind. Let's see. Mike McKenzie. Oh yeah, I guess we already asked that one. All right, I think that's all the StreamLabs and the Super Chats that we got. Is there anything more you want to bring up?
I'm good, man. I'm good to wrap it up or whatever.
All right, fair enough. Real quick, one word on Mutant Mayhem. Can you say anything, or are we still under embargo?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was very good. I don't think I'm ready to say it's better than Across the Spider-Verse.
No,
I think I took JT in April, and I think they said that it was better than Spider-Verse, but for me, it lacked a certain emotion that I think Spider-Verse had. But it was very impressive, and the animation style was super cool, and I love what Rogan did with it.
I loved it. Absolutely. I don't think it's better than Spider-Verse, but I like that it has that style. The animation style in its pencil animation style is just as interesting and different than you like the animation style in Across the Spider-Verse. I agree with Jeff. A little more of the emotion is missing, but there are some really sweet. There's really some really sweet stuff with Jackie Chan's Splinter and the boys. And she was great. Ice Cube is great as the villain here as well. And I thought the April O'Neil stuff really worked. Those things that all those people are upset about, you're actually going to have to eat a lot of fucking crow, because their relationship and the performances from the 4 Ninja Turtles and April are fantastic. That's what I would say, right?
Yeah, I definitely recommend it for sure.
Yeah. It's better than almost any of the TMNT films except the first one. That's what I would say. All right, well, there you go. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for watching the Hot Mic. We appreciate it madly. Remember, go after those people who don't give Jeff Sneider credit for the scoops he drops on this show. Fuck it, go after him. Tell him what's up, for God's sakes. Do your due diligence. If you can't donate, at least do your due diligence on that side of things. Jeff, another fun show. Please let people know where they can find you and what you got going on.
At the Insnider on Twitter, abovetheline.com, lamag.com for the occasional review or column. And be sure to check out FYC, of course. Last week we did our early Oscar nomination predictions. This week we get back to the Emmy stuff, even though we have no idea if there will even be Emmys. And of course, FunCaptain.com for all your finest summer camp goods needs.
Anybody? Okay, listen, bunkcaptain.com. Send me a t-shirt if you want to promote.
Send John a t-shirt. He will wear it, John.
Yeah, I will wear it. I will absolutely wear it.
John to John pass.
I'm easy to have. I'm easy to have for sure. All right, there you go. And thanks, everybody. Great lively chat. Thanks for the StreamLabs and the Super Chats. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Don't forget my other 2 podcasts, The Cinephiles and The Geek Buddies. As I said, we just did the Secret Invasion finale. We've got our main show tomorrow, Star Trek on Saturday. And then tomorrow on the Cinephiles, we're dropping our first episode of our breakdown of Rambo First Blood, which was a fucking joy to revisit at this time for sure. All right, y'all are the best. Take care of yourselves. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. Peace.